Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 316 for October 3rd, 2023. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, the NFL revises its gambling rules and punishments. The Falcons-Jaguars game was played in London and in Andy's room. And two more teams have punched their tickets to the Canadian Football League playoffs. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
Hi, I'm here. Another great weekend of football. Boy, if you're not watching our picks, you got to do that because I'm surprised I did as well as I did, and one of our pickers did very well this week.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think everybody that did picking was in double digits except for one person.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy weekend of football. I mean, geez, there's so many games to talk about, so many things happening in the NFL, and not even just the NFL. We got the CFL, some arena football stuff we'll talk about later. We've got a packed show.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I mean, I'm surprised you haven't brought it up, being the big Swiftie that you are. But Taylor Swift was at it again.
Yeah, we just can't get away from that, can we?
I guess not. I mean, Randy just can't shake it off.
No. Okay, can I continue now?
I guess. Yeah, it's your show.
We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. And with that being said, we'd like to know just where exactly are our followers. If you've been following our podcast for a while, or if you're new to the show, let us know where you're at. I know we've got some listeners in Australia, England, Japan, and Canada, and throughout the United States, but I'd kind of like to start putting together a map or something and just kind of put a pin in places where we know that people are listening to us. So
yeah, we actually joked about getting a big world map and starting to put pins in places where people are from and seeing what the world of football world map looks like.
Yeah. You know, if you don't want to mention what city you're in, just let us know what state you're in. I mean, that'd be cool. But yeah, we'd like to know city, state, and country if you feel like sharing that with us. So feel free to do that this week sometime, and
or whenever you find us. I mean, it doesn't have to be a this week thing.
Yeah, we'd just like to know where all of our listeners are at. All right, thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. We also have timestamps down in the description of both the podcast and the YouTube video, so you can go right to the topics you really want to listen to. You can also find our podcast in its full audio version on our YouTube channel with the handle @The World of Football, as well as other selected videos on YouTube, like our podcast, or your podcast, actually, Just Lying Around, a Detroit Lions podcast, where the latest issue is the Week 4 versus the Packer game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we did it the day after that Packers game. What a big game that was. We'll talk about the Lions. I mean, they're going to start off our scoreboard in a minute, but shoot, I went into work the next day all hyped up, wearing my jersey and my hat. Kyle, despite his lack of enthusiasm sounding on the podcast, was also very excited. I even saw he had a flag out in his yard today, and I told him it wasn't big enough. So, and then we're getting a little bit of a break because the Lions don't play again until Sundays.
Right,
so a little bit of a break from that podcast. So go back and catch up if you want. If you're curious how a couple Lions fans are viewing this season so far.
And for the second month in a row, we've produced our own calendar of the month, where it shows all the different football that's being played, and there's something going on every single day of the month. Whether it's college, CFL, NFL, our podcast, various podcasts going up for listening, you name it. But yeah, we've got our October calendar out there on Facebook, Instagram, X, and I guess just those three.
Okay.
I keep forgetting Instagram. That's the newest one, so I'm still trying to roll my head around that.
See, I forgot. I figured when I made it and I sent it to you to get your approval, I thought, oh yeah, I better post that when he's ready. And I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, it was like 2 days before the month started, and it was October 1st, and I thought about it late that night.
Yeah, I sent it to you, forgot about it. October hit us, and I came out of left field, and it just, but it's up. Now I got to get working on the November one.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that's all the stuff we want to talk about right now. So let's begin today's show with Adam and the world of football scoreboard.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is week 4 of the NFL season. How about that? We are about a quarter of the way through this long season. They call it the first quarter of the season is now come to a close, and we start things off with our beloved Detroit Lions played the Amazon Thursday night game, and I don't know about anybody else. If your team's been on an Amazon Prime game, this is the first time the Lions have graced the Amazon Prime stage. I've had a lot of people, in the last few days since the game saying, "Hey, we couldn't find the game on TV anywhere. Oh, my parents couldn't find the game anywhere." Like, you wouldn't believe how many people couldn't find Amazon or didn't have Amazon, didn't know it was streaming on Amazon. Yeah. So that was one thing. Luckily, I think the local Fox station in Detroit actually had the game.
Okay.
On their station. I don't know how they got away with that, but they did. But other than that, yeah, you had to have an Amazon Prime account, and luckily I did. So I had a big mooch sitting across from me come over to my apartment to watch the game.
Who's that?
Who do you think?
Oh, me.
Yeah, you mooch. So we sat down, we watched this game, and you're not on our podcast with me and Kyle. I already gave a lot of my thoughts on the game, but what were your thoughts on the Lions' 34-20 victory over the Green Bay Packers?
I thought the first half was fantastic. And then, as usual, the second half kickoff happened, and things started going south for Detroit. And we let them catch up and get close. But in the end, it was the position on the field that nobody wants to pay anymore, and that's the running backs. Our running game ground out a couple of long drives and kept the ball away from the Packers at the end of the game. And that's what secured the victory for us, was the running game. So, yeah, the third quarter was a bit of a nail-biter, very frustrating. You wanted to start saying same old Lions, but no, this team is different. Yes, we let them get back into the game. We shouldn't have, but in the end, our offense kept the ball away from them, and we wound up winning by 2 touchdowns.
Yes, I mean, definitely had that Lions feel in the second half.
Yeah.
It was one of the best first halves I've ever seen.
Yep.
I told Kyle it reminded me of the Washington game you and I went to last year, where the Lions were up 22-0 at halftime. Washington kind of came back, but then Detroit was able to hold on and get the win. That's how that game felt Thursday night. And also, how about, and this is a thing that broke since Kyle and I did our show, was that the Green Bay Packers put out a statement following that game, because there were so many Lions fans in attendance of this game that the Packers put out a statement saying, please try to sell your tickets to other Packer fans, because we know that Lambeau Field is a very hot destination for a lot of people and blah, blah, blah. So that cracked me up. The Green Bay actually had to make a statement about that. And now I'm curious, are the Lions going to be a fan base now that's going to be traveling for games? Is it just going to be the Green Bay? Or
it could be.
We'll probably see quite a few in Chicago for sure. We'll see about Minnesota, but they got a game in Tampa Bay in a couple weeks that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I'm curious to see if this Lions fan base is going to start traveling for this team. I mean, it's a different vibe. That's what I'll say about the Lions this year.
You remember when we were at the Thanksgiving game last year against the Bears?
Yeah.
We were sitting in a corner of the end zone, and it was all Bears fans around us.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole section was like Bears fans.
With the division rivalries, I bet you're going to see a lot more traveling. But I mean, there's just sometimes where like certain fan bases, like Raiders fans, travel really well.
Right.
I think Steelers fans travel because they're all over. And Cowboys fans travel. Those are like three of the bigger traveling fan bases. So we'll see what happens.
Did you see the video by Annie Agar where she and her brother were at the game?
Yeah, what a cool video. Her brother's a Lions fan.
Yes,
she's a Packers fan.
And he was giving it to her left and right. Oh, God, that was so cute.
It was good. It was a sweet little video she put up. I mean, say what you will about her comedy. I mean, it might not work for you. It may work for you, but the video of her treating her brother, the
way she looked in the camera, just so disgusted, and he's just
having the time of his life. That was pretty good.
It was wonderful.
Even if you're not an Annie Agar fan, I think you could appreciate that video.
Right? Yeah.
Unless you're a Packers fan, then maybe you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But all right. Anyway, moving on. We had a London game this week.
Mm-hmm.
The Jacksonville Jaguars defeated the Atlanta Falcons 23-7. This game was on ESPN Plus and Disney Plus because Disney Plus did the first ever Sunday Fun Day Toy Story game, or however you want to call it. And I exclusively just watched the Toy Story version of this game.
I watched about the first half, and I watched the halftime show, and then I had other
I didn't
things
even.
to do.
Okay, so I think
Yeah.
we had two different experiences
Okay.
here. Well, so let's start with you, because you're clearly a little more positive on it.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, if I had been watching that game in London, I would have turned it off because it was boring. But just because they were doing so much fun stuff with all the Toy Story characters in Andy's room, and they had Booger McFarlane and who's the other guy, Drew Carter. They were the commentators, and it was just a really really fun thing. And they'd have all kinds of little trivia questions for kids. How many teams are in
I
the
liked
NFL.
that. I liked that they were kind of alternating between NFL trivia, Toy Story trivia, and then they had like some like NFL like stat stuff like come up on the screen.
Yeah, what is a punt? What is this and that? And
oh, that's the other thing. I liked. Okay, so compared to like some of the Slime Time games, they are trying to make it kid friendly, get kids to learn about the game.
Right.
And I watched this game with my girlfriend and her daughter, and they, not big football fans, but I mean, her daughter's like, I don't care about sports, but she sat down and watched this, and was actually kind of into it only because it was kind of Toy Story themed.
Right.
And she would read the trivia questions, and she would be like asking questions like, do you know the answer? And I would know a lot of the answers, or a couple I didn't know. But it was, so seeing it from that perspective, it was very engaging for kids. And I was actually kind of into that. But my big problem with it was very glitchy. After a while, I just got tired of watching. I was like, man, they can't.
In the beginning, they did have a lot of problems. Yeah. The technical problems isn't there, but they kind of smoothed out as the game went along.
Okay, see, I had stopped it probably after the first quarter. I was like, all right, I've probably seen enough. Eventually, we actually came back to it, watched the end of the game. So I missed the halftime show and all that stuff. But it did seem like if they cleaned up the bugs, it would probably be actually a fun broadcast, because it was cool. Like there was, and then later I would get on to X, and the NFL had the side by side of like Trevor Lawrence with like that big run he had at one point. And so that was kind of cool seeing the side by side, how accurate it kind of was, minus the flames on the field for the animated version. But I think it was a cool thing, and maybe it won't be a one and done thing. If they can nail this, I actually think this could be a viable, fun way to get people to watch these games. So
yeah, Slinky Dog being the first
down
market, that was
cool.
awesome. Just so many cool things.
There was a lot of good, a lot of bad to it. Like I think the Booger McFarlane, good lord.
That's the only way I could tolerate him is as a cartoon character.
Couldn't even do that. That was hard. But like some of the dialogue just felt so bad. Like
yes, a lot of it was somewhat scripted because they knew they had to speak to a younger audience.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, maybe they need somebody with a little more personality than Booger McFarlane. Somebody a little more animated to kind of do that.
Animated, good job there.
How about Dwayne the Rock Johnson to come in?
They even had who's the ex-Lions quarterback that's
Eric Kramer.
No, the guy that's on
Rodney Peete, Joey Harrington,
the guy that does the ESPN,
Mike McMahon,
the guy that ran out of the end zone.
Oh, Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, Dan Orlovsky. They had him animated for a hot second too.
Nice.
He just came in and did a quick little thing, but yeah, he actually got in there too.
Do you want me to go list off more Lions quarterbacks?
No. But
Scott Mitchell, Gus Farrat.
But the halftime show was this stuntman,
Dante Culpepper,
Duke Kaboom.
Yeah,
which I've not seen Toy Story 4.
You've never seen Toy Story 4?
I've never seen Duke Kaboom.
Voiced by the great Keanu Reeves. What are you doing?
But yeah, they said he was Canada's greatest stuntman.
Canada's greatest stuntman.
And the cape that he's wearing has got the Canadian flag on it. And they actually, after he did his stunt, his jump over a bunch of London buses or whatever, they actually said Duke Kaboom is a CFL fan and he loves the Grey Cup. I couldn't believe they said that right on the broadcast as part of the script for this Duke Kaboom thing. So I thought that was pretty cool that they gave a nod to the CFL with that. But yeah, I liked it a lot better than the Slime Time crap they've been doing and the SpongeBob things and whatever. This was awesome. I would watch this all the time because I love whenever it's on, I will watch it.
Maybe two teams that weren't our teams, but I do think this was a better thing to get maybe kids or families into watching the game together.
Yes.
I would almost want them to. I don't know if they ever showed any of the live action stuff to show side by side during the game.
That broadcast, no.
Maybe they should have done that for the kids. I think with that technology, it was so cool just how accurate a lot of that stuff was. But like I said, you get that cleaned up, that could be the way to watch it. Like, see a Slime Time, this is the way to go. So, all right, we spent a lot of time on those first two
Yeah.
games, so we're gonna fly through a lot.
We're
of
going to
these.
get moving now.
So we'll try to give little tidbits here and there as we go along. We won't go as long. All right, how about this? The Buffalo Bills just absolutely destroyed the Miami Dolphins 48-20 after everybody was all hyped on the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
They brought them back to earth.
All week long, all these prognosticators on radio and on TV. The Dolphins must be the best offense in the entire league. Well,
I mean, they have a very good
wrong
offense.
again. Yes,
but
they
Buffalo,
are. Yes,
but
they
Buffalo came to play. You play
Yes.
those division games, this is where the reality check comes in.
Yep.
I think that's the first time this season we've seen the Buffalo team we expected to see all season.
Yes, exactly.
All right, the Minnesota Vikings got their first win of the season on the road in Carolina, 21-13. You know, I mean, I would have rather seen the Panthers get that win. I'd wanted Minnesota to go in for, but
True.
I mean, Kirk Cousins throwing a 99-yard pick six at the beginning of the game was something else, and then he got laid out on that play. It was great. But yeah, the Vikings coming out with a win there. And the other battle of winless teams, the Denver Broncos came back 21 points down to defeat the Chicago Bears 31-28 after Sean Payton, and they better put his sleeves in the Hall of Fame, because I don't know if you saw that. He actually had his sleeves of his shirt cut off during the game. Oh yeah, go back and watch this. I'll send you a great video of this, because like it was something, I don't know what was happening. They were losing, if he was frustrated or what. But he like pulls his hands inside his shirt, because he's got this long sleeve shirt on, and he had a staff member come up with scissors and just cut off the sleeve, so it was like 3/4 of the way down. Then after that, don't ask me how or why, the Denver Broncos started rolling and came back. And I mean, and if you think about it, the Chicago Bears didn't put up bad stats. Like, it was one of the best days Justin Fields had. He threw 4 touchdowns, like, you know, scored 4 touchdowns like Al Bundy. But, you know, you wouldn't think, you know, they had a great game. I mean, obviously you let them score 21 unanswered points.
I didn't see too many highlights from this game. I think I only saw the lowlights.
Well, I'll send you a great video. There's a YouTube channel out there called That's Good Sports. He's a Denver Bronco fan. He's kind of like in the vein of your Tom Grossi, you know, kind of does comedy sports stuff. Does some good stuff. He's also, you know, a comedy acquired taste, but I like what he does. But he went into this game saying it's the new worst game ever. Especially after the Denver Broncos got 70 hung on him last week. He reversed it this week. It's like, nope, it's the Bears had the new worst game ever. And he just like broke this game down in particular. It was great. It was absolutely fantastic watching him talk about this game. That's the one I'll send you and let you see. But yeah, so the Bears now fall to 0-4, and they play this Thursday night.
Wow.
Yay us.
Well, see, now if you don't have Amazon Prime, you're not missing anything.
Hey, you're not missing anything this week, probably, unless you're a Commanders fan.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, then the Baltimore Ravens got a 28-3 victory over the Browns after, you know, Deshaun Watson got hurt during practice this week and didn't play. So the Ravens, even though they're banged up, looking like a decent team. The Houston Texans, how about this? A shocker, defeating the Steelers 30-6. Could the Houston Texans be better than we thought they were? Seems like they got a team down there.
I think the Steelers just might be worse than we thought they were.
Maybe. I mean, the Steelers have been up and down, but yeah, they, man, oh man, something about the Steelers just ain't right.
Right, yeah. I don't know what it is, but, you know, they should have put at least a couple touchdowns up on that game. But
all right, moving on. The Los Angeles Rams got a 29-23 victory in overtime against the Indianapolis Colts. Matthew Stafford getting dinged up during this game. I'm not sure. I think it was his hip, they said, but still got in there and led them to the overtime win. And what is that? The wide receiver's name, Puka Nacua?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh man, this kid is just having a great season. He's like on pace for breaking like the rookie reception record, I think. He's definitely got more receptions through his first 4 games than Calvin Johnson and I think even Cooper Kupp.
Didn't I see that Cooper Kupp's supposed to be coming back here pretty soon?
Cooper Kupp should be coming back this week, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Don't book me on that one.
I thought I saw something about that.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated their division rival, the New Orleans Saints, 26-9. Tampa Bay getting hot too. The Washington Commanders took the Eagles to overtime, but the Eagles still ended up getting the victory, 34-31.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I flipped to that, and it was like 31-31 going into overtime. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe that Washington hung with them like that. So good for them.
The Tennessee Titans absolutely embarrassed the Cincinnati Bengals 27-3. What is going on in Cincinnati? Joe Burrow, I feel so bad for this kid.
I told you guys, man. When I saw that game between the Bengals and the
Rams.
No.
Bengals-Rams Monday night game last week.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were both awful. I mean, they made a big deal because Cincinnati won last week, but I'm like, no, they're terrible. Yeah. They're terrible.
Should have listened to you. All right, the Los Angeles Chargers defeated the Las Vegas Raiders 24-17. The Dallas Cowboys absolutely embarrassed the New England Patriots 38-3, giving Bill Belichick the biggest loss of his career. How about that?
I'm sure he won't be happy about that this week.
Oh, I'm sure not. I mean, but if there's anything there's not much in the league that's scarier than a pissed off Bill Belichick.
That's true.
Coming into next week. So watch out whoever's playing New England. We'll see if they can get that ship righted. The 49ers defeated the Cardinals 35-16. And then on Sunday Night Football, Taylor Swift was yet again in attendance to watch boyfriend Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs hold on for a 23-20 victory over the New York Jets. Now, this game started off kind of like that Lions game where the Chiefs looked great, started off 17-0. Jets kind of came back in it, but then the Chiefs did what the good teams do, and that's at the end of the game, they held on, they ran a lot of clock, they put their foot down, and even Patrick Mahomes was rubbing it in a little bit by running and sliding, preventing bettors from getting that 8 points that they were hoping for on the betting line to win by 3. Yeah. So kudos to Patrick Mahomes. But again, with Taylor Swift in attendance, I don't want to make this the biggest part of that game because Zach Wilson deserves a little bit of credit. Sure, he had the fumble at the end of the game that kind of cost him, but I thought Zach Wilson looked a lot better this week.
Yeah.
He has definitely not deserved as much of the hate as I think he's been getting.
True.
And, he was obviously out there performing for Travis Kelce's mom, who was also in attendance. Moving on from that, Taylor Swift helped the NFL by making this game the most watched Sunday TV broadcast since Super Bowl 57 this past February. How about them numbers?
Now, when you say she was there to watch her boyfriend, are you using the little air quotes thing?
No,
boyfriend?
They're dating.
Because this is all fake.
It is not fake.
You know that.
It is not fake. I don't know what you're talking about. This is true love. Taylor Swift has finally found her man. I can't wait to see her next album.
This is a corporate arrangement.
Nope, it's her next album. All I see is Kelsey, or whatever it's going to be called, with Travis Kelce probably on her new album cover. All the songs will be happy love ballads about scoring touchdowns and watching her man.
You mean her next song is going to be something like, I didn't know they played games in these stadiums where I perform?
I mean, she's probably saying it doesn't look as packed as
I
what I'm
thought this was
there.
a music venue for me, but they actually play some kind of game here. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of fun.
Give Taylor Swift a little more credit. But she was in attendance, but I do think it's funny that also in that same suite with her was Ryan Reynolds, his wife Blake Lively, Wolverine himself, Hugh Jackman was sitting there. Nobody else talked about any of them.
I had no idea anybody else was there.
Nobody was there talking about them.
Of course
Even
not.
Brittany Mahomes is sitting in front of her. Like,
yeah. I did see a picture of her watching her phone and being disgusted.
My favorite meme was Taylor Swift talking to her, and the caption was, "So why does your husband keep throwing the ball to the other team? Because it wasn't Patrick Mahomes' best game. I'll give everybody's allowed to have a bad game, and Patrick definitely did not have a great game. But that one was funny. And also, the rumors going around because the director of the new Deadpool movie was also there with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. So they're all obviously doing Deadpool 3 now that the writer strike's over. They're waiting for the actor strike to finish up. And so now the rumor is Taylor Swift.
Oh God!
I'm not even kidding.
Oh,
the rumor is Taylor Swift in the new Deadpool movie as an X-Men character.
See, like I said, this is a relationship made in corporate heaven between the movie studios and the NFL and the record companies. They're all profiting off of this thing.
Of course they are. And guess what? We are getting all of this great content. But yeah, so that's the rumor. The rumor is she might be playing a X-Men character called Dazzler. I'm gonna pull out my comic book knowledge here. From what I'm not a big X-Men comic fan. I mean, I like the X-Men, but apparently Dazzler is an actual pop star in the X-Men universe who also happens to have mutant powers. So Dazzler, look, and if you see a picture of the Dazzler comic book character, looks just like Taylor Swift. If I pull up a picture for you right now, and I didn't think I'd be talking about Dazzler today.
The big story that you missed was that Travis Kelce's mom was at the Philadelphia game
with Jake from State Farm.
So is she going to be in a Jake from State Farm commercial?
Oh, that's got to be coming
pretty soon.
Okay, so here's a picture of Dazzler from the X-Men comics. You tell me you can't see Taylor Swift playing this character.
Probably.
Yep. It is a match made in heaven for. I'll even see that. I'm sure people have already photoshopped Taylor Swift as Dazzler. Yep, there you go. Okay. Taylor Swift as Dazzler.
Jeez.
Do yourself a favor out there, people. And
Nothing
Google
is
that.
real anymore. Everything is made up behind the scenes, and we're just
Hold on.
being force fed
This
everything.
is not Whose Line Is It Anyway, where the points are made up and the game doesn't matter. Because that's what football matters. And that's it for the NFL score this week. We're going to quickly go through. It's CFL Week 17. Let's talk about some Canadian football now. Enough of this American crap.
Yeah, and I wanted to say one thing before you.
Oh God, you ruined my transition.
No, in honor of Truth and Reconciliation Day up in Canada, which is kind of like their Native American Appreciation Day or whatever. Several teams wore redesigned logos created by Indigenous artists. Now, not every team was.
I know it was like.
Well, I did
5 or
see
6 teams.
Yes,
I saw those.
Yes.
They all looked great.
It might have been just the Saturday games and not the Friday night games.
Okay.
But
I know. I didn't see anything for the Argonauts.
No, the Argonauts I did not see.
But I liked the Tiger Cats.
Winnipeg,
looks cool.
Yep,
Winnipeg.
Tiger Cats had that on the field, that logo,
Yeah,
and
the Elks I think had one.
Well, the Elks didn't play, but they had that earlier this season. I think the Indigenous, or maybe it was last year.
I've been digging all those logos.
Yeah,
those
very nice. It was just like a reimagining of
I would love to get those on a T-shirt
by Indigenous people who made it in their their style, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
Okay.
All right, then Friday night saw the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeat the Toronto Argonauts 31-21. It's just the second loss of the season for Toronto in a rematch of last year's Grey Cup. Winnipeg quarterback Zach Collaros completed 22 passes for 258 yards and 2 touchdowns, while running back Brady Oliveira carried the ball 25 times for 169 yards. How about that? It was a good day for him.
Yeah.
He also had a touchdown catch on top of it. Kicker Sergio
Castillo, I spelled that wrong.
Oh, Castillo had, I was going to say, I was like, that doesn't look right. Made 6 field goals. And then for Toronto, quarterback Cameron Dukes completed 17 passes for 231 yards and a touchdown. He also ran the ball for 34 yards and a rushing touchdown. Since Toronto had clinched that Eastern Division, they decided to end up resting quarterback Chad Kelly. So that's why when I see Winnipeg winning the game, I was like, oh, they must have, because I knew there was talk that they might sit Chad Kelly. So when I saw that, and I was like, okay, yeah, they must have sat Chad Kelly, because I think Toronto is still the best team in the league.
Yeah, and they
said losing.
And they said on the broadcast that this is the only time that Winnipeg and Toronto are going to meet this season, unless they meet in the Grey Cup again.
Which right now I would say is probably your very likely rematch.
Could very well be, yeah.
All right, then Friday night also saw the British Columbia Lions defeat the Saskatchewan Roughriders 33-26. British Columbia quarterback Vernon Adams completed 27 passes for 458 yards. What a day for him, and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
While wide receiver Keon Hatcher had 10 catches for 172 yards. Wow, and a touchdown. A couple of great days for those guys.
Yep.
Then Saskatchewan quarterback Jake Dolagala completed 31 passes for 409 yards and no touchdowns. Now hold on. Now tell me the last time you remember seeing these CFL stat lines where both quarterbacks in the same game threw for over 400 yards.
I can't think of
it has been a while.
Happened, but
if it's happened.
I saw that and I said, did I write that down wrong? Because at first I wrote 258 yards for passing yards for Vernon Adams, and I had to change that. It was 458 yards. And then the other quarterback had 409. So, yeah, 2 quarterbacks over 400 yards.
860, what is it? Hold on. 875 yards. Or no, 65 yards of passing.
Over 800 yards of passing between
these two guys. Unbelievable. So kudos to that game.
Yeah.
Then wide receiver for Saskatchewan, Keon Schaefer-Baker, one of the best names in the league, had 9 catches for 104 yards, while wide receiver Jareth Stearns had 7 catches for 102 yards. So.
Yeah, no touchdowns for those 2 receivers, but over 100 yards each.
All right, then on Saturday, another in a doubleheader, the Montreal Alouettes defeated the Ottawa Redblacks 32-15. Helping the Alouettes clinch a playoff spot. Montreal quarterback Cody Fajardo completed 15 passes for 179 yards and a touchdown, while running back William Stanback carried the ball 13 times for 85 yards and a touchdown. For Ottawa, quarterback Dustin Crum completed 25 passes for 247 yards and no touchdowns. Then we're going to move on to the second doubleheader game. The Hamilton Tiger Cats got the victory over the Calgary Stampeders 22-15, helping the Ticats clinch a playoff spot for the 5th year in a row. Hamilton quarterback Matthew Schiltz completed 11 passes for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for another 30 yards. Wide receiver Tim White had 3 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. Then for Calgary, quarterback Jake Mayer completed 26 passes for 239 yards, no touchdowns, while kicker Rene Paredes ended up making 5 field goals during that game. And on bye this week, the Edmonton Elks.
Some great action. I didn't get to see any live games, but I did watch a number of the replays.
Yep. And then we're going to look at the CFL standings after 17 weeks. There will be no crossover game this year or crossover team in the playoffs this year because the 3 East spots were clinched. The Toronto Argonauts have clinched the Eastern Division. We talked about that last week or the week before. At 12-2, followed by the 8-7 Montreal Alouettes clinching their spot this week, and then the Hamilton Tiger Cats at 7-8 clinching their playoff spot, while the Ottawa Red Blacks are eliminated with a 4-11 record. All right, in the West, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have already clinched a spot with an 11-4 record. The British Columbia Lions clinched their playoff spot, or have clinched a home game in the playoffs this season with their 11-4 record, but nobody has claimed the West just yet.
Right.
With a playoff spot still open on that side of the division because the Saskatchewan Roughriders, despite being 6-9 in that third spot, got to keep an eye out for the Calgary Stampeders and Edmonton Elks for the last couple of weeks. Both those teams at 4-11. So we could still see the Elks sneak in there.
Wow, I can't believe the Elks still have a shot right now.
Yep, the Elks have a shot.
Yeah, you just assume it's going to be Saskatchewan because they're 2 games up
right
now.
I mean,
with 3 games.
If Calgary and Edmonton lose and Saskatchewan gets a win, it's all but done, and all the playoff spots will be locked up. But also at the top of that West, British Columbia and Winnipeg, that home field advantage could be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for those 2 teams. I mean, I still think Winnipeg will be the team to beat, but I mean, if British Columbia can clinch a home playoff game again or home field, watch out. That might be a very, very tough matchup, even for Winnipeg.
Yeah.
All right, and that's it for the CFL this week, everybody. And we're going to throw it over to Randy, who's going to, hopefully, run through the college scores.
Well, if I go too fast, I'll start messing up. So here we go. Week 5 at the FBS level. Number 1, Georgia over Auburn, 27-20. Number 2, Michigan over Nebraska, 45-7. Number 3, Texas over number 24, Kansas, 40-14. Number 4, Ohio State was off this week. In other scores, number 8, USC defeated Colorado, 48-41. Now, this was a game I watched.
What a game.
I watched this one, yeah.
We figured Colorado would at least play better in their building, and boy, did they show up.
Yeah, but they had a terrible first half, but they came back in the end, and it came down to who was going to get an onside kick in the last minute or so, and the Colorado could not come up with the ball, and that was the difference. But boy, did they storm back. They're still a fun team to watch. I mean, the first half was hard to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that comeback, that second half was just awesome. And anytime the Colorado is going to be on TV right now, I'm going to be watching that game.
Yeah, I can't believe it. And you just know when bowl season comes around, they're not going to just get any old bowl game. They're going to probably get I won't say they'll reach for a bowl game, but I'm going to guarantee you, they're going to be in a position where they'll probably have a decent record, so it'll be justified. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be a bowl, a really, really good bowl that's going to want to snatch this team up.
Yep, absolutely. All right, continuing with the scores. Number 11, Notre Dame defeated number 17, Duke, 21 to. I got 21-24. It must have been 24-21. But number 19.
I think it was 21-17, probably. I could double check it. But,
okay, well, whatever. Notre Dame over Duke. Number 19, Oregon State upset number 10, Utah.
Yeah, 21-14. Sorry for the Notre Dame game.
I had that number wrong. All right, number 19, Oregon State upset number 10, Utah, 21-7. Number 20, Ole Miss upset number 13, LSU, 55-49. Kentucky upset number 22, Florida, 33-14. It was Central Michigan over Eastern Michigan, 26-23. Arkansas State over Massachusetts, 55-28. Western Michigan gets their first win in the MAC conference this year, defeating Ball State 42-24. I wish I would have been on TV, but I wasn't on TV around here. Iowa over Michigan State 26-16, and the things just keep happening to Michigan State right now. Man, they can't win on the field. Can't seem to do anything right now. Texas State over Southern Miss 50-36. It was Rutgers beating up on FCS Wagner 52-3. And Buffalo over Akron, 13-10 in overtime. In the military academies, Air Force, which I watched some of this game too Saturday night. Air Force defeated San Diego State 49-10, and it was South Florida over Navy 44-30. Army had the weekend off. All right, from this point on, we're going to go to some of the lower levels, and I've got 2 random scores from each lower division, starting with the FCS level. Princeton over Columbia 10-7. And Grambling over Prairie View 35-20. At the Division II level, it was Davenport over shutting out Michigan Tech 28-0. And Ferris State over Northern Michigan, 78-3. Wow. In Division III scores, it was Husan over Dean, 75-17, and St. Olaf over Hamline, 49-25. In NAIA scores, Concordia over Wayne State, 24-23, and St. Francis of Indiana over Madonna, 44-9. In junior college scores, it was the Snow College Badgers of Ephraim, Utah, one of our favorite teams out there, over the Georgia Military Academy, 33-30, and Tyler over Northeastern Oklahoma A&M, 16-13 in overtime. Moving on up into Canada for U Sports, which is their version of the NCAA up there, the University of Toronto defeated McMaster 33-19, and Queens, get this, shut out York 87-0. In the Canadian Junior Football League, it was the Saskatoon Hilltops over the Regina Thunder 19-10, and the Edmonton Wildcats defeated the Calgary Colts 42-36. And we did get a couple of scores yesterday from the X League in Japan from Greg James, our man in Japan. And the scores that I picked out were the Fujitsu Frontiers over the Teinai Deers, 60-3, and IBM Big Blue over the Kobe Finnies, I don't know what that means, 35-21. And that's it for this week's World of Football scoreboard, where we try to touch on everything and everybody.
And why it takes half of our show usually.
Yeah, really. All right, let's get into some NFL news. Lions wide receiver Jamison Williams and Titans offensive lineman Nicholas Pettit-Ferrer, I think that's how you pronounce that, had their 6-game suspensions reduced to 4 games, and they are now back with their respective teams. The reason for that is because the NFL has kind of changed their policies now, and so they shouldn't have had a 6-game suspension, or by the new rules that it would not have been a 6-game suspension. But some of the things that they've tweaked about their policies, betting on NFL games will draw an indefinite suspension at a minimum of 1 year, or 2 years if a player bets on a contest involving his own team. Yeah, that's a big no-no. Actual or attempted game fixing will result in a permanent ban from the NFL, while providing inside information or tipping will elicit an indefinite suspension with a minimum of 1 year, as will third-party or proxy betting. So if you're giving information to bettors about games or injuries or whatever, yeah, you might find yourself out of the league. The NFL reduced penalties for betting on other sports while in the workplace, calling for 2-game suspensions without pay for first-time offenders, 6-game bans also without pay for second-time offenders, and a suspension without pay for at least a year for third-time offenders. Williams and Pettit-Ferrer were previously suspended for 6 games in betting on non-NFL games in team facilities. Under the amended policy, they would have only been banned for 2 games. That's why.
Well, yeah. But so you said non-NFL games. It's non-NFL sports, so not even football. It's
right.
Like college,
baseball,
basketball.
yeah, whatever. Anything with NFL. So yeah. So I guess that kind of makes sense. And
yeah.
we remember where we were when we heard that news. We were driving through Ohio on our way to New York to a PFRA event when we heard this, and that's all we heard the rest of the way. It's just all the way through Ohio. That's all we heard was several players got suspended for betting inside the facility.
Yep. So the main thing here is, come on, guys. Your NFL players a lot of you are making millions of dollars. Why even bother betting on any of this crap? It's not worth getting suspended for. I do commend the NFL for at least adjusting. I think the penalties were a little harsh, especially for non-games. So it just stinks that they came a little late. Like, it would have been nice if they would have figured this out during the offseason. So James could have just been a 2-game suspension.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
But hey, it is what it is. When I heard the news that we were getting him back early, I was like, all right, like, let's do this. And he's been at practice this week, and obviously that's been one of the big stories around the Lions. Other than some of the injuries and stuff. But so we'll see. He probably won't get a whole lot of playing time on Sunday, but I'm sure we'll see him in action. So very exciting to finally get him back out on the field.
Yeah, Detroit's playing so well, and now they're getting this weapon back. The sky's the limit for this team. I really think so.
And I mean, and not only that, but in our next story, especially, the Lions are playing so good. We got the first flex of the season.
Yes. next week, or I'm sorry, in week 6, their game against the Buccaneers has been flexed from a 1 o'clock game to a 4 o'clock game. And that's the first one of the season. I guess this
Yeah.
was the first week when they could actually flex a game.
And I mean,
week 6.
probably not a bad decision on the
No.
NFL's part. I don't know what game they bumped. I didn't look at
Yeah.
the schedule that hard, but the Lions playing decent, the Buccaneers playing decent, and a matchup that's also going to have the Buccaneers wearing their creamsicle uniforms.
I don't think they had to bump anybody. They just added another,
Oh.
4 o'clock. They just took a 1 o'clock, made it a 4 o'clock, so nobody
I
else.
thought maybe a 4 o'clock game got bumped to a 1 o'clock.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's just the way. My first thought was they were going to flex it to a Sunday night game.
Oh,
When I think flexing, I think you're flexing it into prime time. But
I wonder if they can't do prime time till later on. Like 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock's not a big jump.
No,
so.
it's really not. I mean, if you got tickets for that day,
Because I mean, with those flexing to like a Sunday night, that's a lot of moving pieces there.
Yes.
That's different network.
Right.
That's travel plans and stuff. I mean, yeah, granted, you got a couple weeks out, but
more of the country will be watching this game now
Yeah.
because it's
it'll
flex
be
game on 4
Fox's
o'clock.
America Game of the Week.
Probably, yeah.
Like I said, seeing the Lions, playing great, the Bucks playing great, and then on top of it, the Bucks wearing those classic creamsicle uniforms. I mean, people. I think when they had them, people hated them.
Right.
But now they love them, and now it's what people want to see.
Well, they only hated them because they started out, the first 2 years not winning any games for what was it, the 27 in a row. They won a couple towards the end of the second season, but that's kind of the stigma that came with those uniforms is why people don't like them.
I'm excited to see those creamsicles.
I am looking forward to seeing them again.
Especially against Detroit, like a classic NFC Central matchup. I mean, Detroit won't be wearing their throwbacks, but they'll still look kind of cool.
Right, yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Okay. All right, moving on to a little CFL news. The British Columbia Lions have added quarterback Colin Kaepernick to their negotiations list. Now, the CFL's been doing this for years. They have a list where they go to the league office and they say, we want to have this guy, we want to have this guy's CFL rights. And, the first one to get there to the league office is the one that gets it. So they have a lot of players that they'd say, well, if he ever became available, we'd like to have a first crack at getting him in the CFL. And so that's what they're doing with Colin Kaepernick. There's no talk right now that they're in talks with him to sign him to the team up there. So I don't know if maybe they're just trying to get a little publicity off the fact that he wanted to come back to an NFL team recently. I don't know if they're just doing this as an attention grab or if they seriously think that, well, if things would work out, we might sign him. But that's all it is right now is he's just put on the negotiation list, so they're the only ones in the CFL that can talk.
We've talked about the negotiation list in the past. I forget what big was. Johnny Manziel was on there, obviously, but then he actually ended up on a CFL roster.
Right.
I think we've had some other big name guys on that list.
Right, over the years, they put all kinds of guys, and usually it amounts to nothing.
Right.
But it's just like, well, if something were to happen, we want to be the first one. So that's all they're doing is they're saying he's our guy if he comes to the CFL.
Yeah. So,
Which is fine.
I do think the timing is a little weird, especially after he,
right, yeah,
threw his hat out there like, I'll go play for the Jets. I'll put my hat out there. But like, well, where's this interest been in Colin Kaepernick? I'm surprised he hasn't been already put on a list after leaving the NFL and wanting to be coming back for the last few years. He's been talking about like, I want to sign with the team. I'm ready to go. For the last 3 or 4 years, I feel like every offseason we talk about him being ready, and nobody ever signs him.
Right.
Where's the CFL been giving him that opportunity? You'd think that they would have done this years ago.
That's true.
So I think this is more publicity than anything, especially right now.
And I think it would be good for him to go up to the CFL and play for a while.
I would be very curious. I'm surprised he didn't do this sooner. I know he had a very hard stance, and I get it. The NFL kind of screwed him over. I don't know if they really blacklisted him or what. I feel like they did. I bet you someday we're going to get a documentary about all that stuff behind the scenes that we kind of suspected was happening that they openly denied. But I think he would have been great if he would have jumped straight up to Canada shortly thereafter and then proven himself up there. Yep. That would have changed the whole thing. But I get it. He had his stance on the NFL itself, and why put his talents up there? When he knew he was like, I'm capable of playing in the big league. Like
at this point, I don't think he's ever going to see another NFL team. So why not go up to Canada? And I could just got 2 words for him: Warren Moon.
I mean,
that's what Warren Moon did. He went up to Canada, won 5 consecutive Grey Cups up there, and then the NFL wanted him back so bad, and they he wound up splitting the rest of his career back in the U.S. So I say go for it. If they offer you something, go on up to Canada. You'll enjoy it. Seems like every player I've ever heard speak about the CFL, who's from America, say they loved their time up there. The money's not there, but they love the people. They
The
love the
appreciation,
cities,
the
fans.
culture,
Yep,
everything.
the
Yep.
game, everything. They love it. So I think he should do it. I think he should go up to Canada. All right, let's see where else we go. Green Day has been named the halftime performer of the Grey Cup game. Are you much of a Green Day fan?
Back in high school, I listened to a little bit of Green Day. I was never a big fan, but I mean, they got some good hits. I like some of their songs. They did. What did they do for the NFL a few years back? Did they do like one of the?
I don't recall.
Oh, they did something for the NFL honors or something. I think the year they did COVID because they were outside of.
Oh, okay, yeah.
SoFi Stadium doing a little show or whatever. So
I think I do remember that. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, Green Day's a good act. They've been around a long time. I think they're a good, fun, like. I won't say clean because I mean they got some,
Sure.
songs with some words, but I think they're a good act, and I think they're popular enough still to where you're going to get eyeballs on them. And being from Canada, it makes sense having them be halftime. So I think that's a good pull.
Hey, if you
They're no
can't,
Taylor Swift, but it's a good pull.
if you can't get Shania Twain every year up
They come
there
out on the dog
to
sleds.
come out on a dog sled in a pink sparkly leotard suit thing, whatever she was wearing, you may as well go with Green
Well,
Day.
you know what's better than Shania Twain coming out on a dog sled?
No, what?
Green Day coming out on 3 dog sleds.
3 dog sleds.
3 guys just jamming their instruments, being pulled by dog sleds. Let's make it happen, Canada.
I wonder if the old band 3 Dog Night is still out there
Oh
somewhere.
Who? Now you're really gonna make me feel like. I mean, you're already dating yourself with that reference, probably. That one went way over my head and then some.
3 Sled Dog Night. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's see. College news. Michigan State has officially fired head coach Mel Tucker. We knew it was going to happen for the past
I feel like
week or
we've
so.
said he's been fired for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, a week ago they said we are definitely going to fire him, but there was something in his contract that said he had to be given notice if he was going to be fired by at least a week so that he could, make a statement or whatever. They did that. He did, and now he's officially fired. So we all knew it was coming. But another story going along with that was an NIL company has pulled all of its deals with Michigan State University. A company called Spartan Dogs for Life, which is owned by a guy that is an alumnus of Michigan State by the name of Steve St. Andre, has canceled all of its name, image, and likeness contracts with MSU football players, effective immediately. He's one of these mega donors at the school. And didn't we have a story like earlier this year where they set up like an NIL portal at MSU? And I hated that idea. They, I believe it was MSU that they set up a portal.
You made me totally forget that they had like their own OnlyFans for football.
Yep, I believe we talked about this. This was like 3 or 4 months ago.
I think it was longer than that, but oh man, I remember making that graphic. I think,
but yeah. It just, but I didn't know this was one company setting all this up. I mean, I thought these kids just went out and made their own deals or something. But that school, and there was one other school that did the same thing. They set up some sort of portal where you go, you pay to log into this portal, and then you have access to all the players, and you can interact with them, talk to them, and whatever. Which I thought was pimping your players out myself, but whatever. So anyway, let's move on a little bit. Arena football news. We got the official confirmation or an official statement from the league office of the new Arena Football League that Everett, Washington is definitely going to be a team. They don't have a name right now. That's going to come later. I don't know if it's going to be the Everett Hawks like it was years ago. But they came out with a statement saying, yes, Everett, Washington is going to be one of our teams. And just in the last day or so, the Albany Firebirds are claiming that they are coming back to the AFL. Now, I saw an article that had a link to a Channel 10 news story from Albany where they talked to the new owner. The new owner is the guy who owned the team before and sold it to Antonio Brown. So he's got the team back now.
And was able to somehow get the old Albany Firebirds name rights back.
Yes.
So,
well, the league owns that, I'm sure.
Well, maybe. But so, yeah, I saw this on Facebook random indoor football like fans page. I was like, first of all, skeptical. So then I jumped over to X and I did a search just to see. And yeah, it was a news station out of Albany, New York with this press conference. So it looked legit. But I still made sure to send you a message, and I sent Tim Capper at Arena Fan a message with that link saying legit ? Yeah. And even Tim Capper was like, of all the rumors I had heard, This was not, what I thought would
Right.
happen. This
Right.
this was in the league's plans, but here we are. And he obviously reshared the link. So obviously we're gonna wait for official
Right.
league confirmation. But when your team has a press conference like that,
Right. And it's on local
it's
news.
got to at least, because I didn't see
And
Lee
see,
Hutton the third there in
right.
attendance.
Exactly.
So that's what
It's all
also
local
made me
people.
go, but we'll see. I'm sure they still got to cross some T's, dot some I's, then we'll get an official announcement.
If it's true, I love it.
If it's true, this might be the best news out
Yes.
of the Arena Football
Yes,
League's new
absolutely.
iteration. Like, that made me feel a little better. Seeing that, you got the helmet right behind you, the mini helmet of that Firebirds
Yes.
helmet right behind you.
Yes.
I loved that logo when they were the Albany Firebirds, moved into Indiana, becoming the Indiana Firebirds. I love that logo. They always had the great team colors. Obviously, their history with touchdown Eddie Brown.
Yep.
And I think also it comes at a great time but maybe we said when the whole Antonio Brown stuff kind of happened, this ruined any groundwork Albany had of getting into the new Arena League.
Right.
So I think once all that BS kind of washed aside and the team kind of got back in the hands of the original owner, and they can just be like, well, we can be gone with the Albany Empire name,
right,
and we can bring back the name that everybody kind of wanted
right,
when they announced that Albany was getting a team anyway, back
right,
when they joined the Arena League again. So I'm all for this if it turns out to be true.
Yeah.
As for Everett, though, I mean, yeah, they had the AF2 team. We'll see. I'm still not crazy about some of these super small markets, especially when there's a Grand Rapids, Michigan just sitting there waiting for an arena team. Gosh darn it.
That's
And
right.
you're giving it to Everett, Washington. But I digress.
There was also talk about.
Yep, you can talk about the third team that's been
yes,
talked about.
the Rapid City Marshals, current members of the Champions Indoor Football. They're saying that they're going to the Arena Football League also. And again, no official confirmation from the AFL. So I put a question mark by that one and the Albany Firebirds because I want to wait until we get that official press release from the AFL.
Once that happens, then it'll be official.
Yes.
Then we can kind of move on from there. But as of right now, what we have, the West Texas Desert Hawks confirmed. And they apparently fired their head coach or relieved him of his duties.
Oh, really?
The other day. I saw that. I had to resist commenting on, are you going to change your Microsoft Paint logo? I'm sorry. I'm going to be on that train their whole time they're existing. So the Everett, not the Everett Hawks, the Desert Hawks. So I don't think they'd be the Everett Hawks because you already got a Hawks team. So I'm going to imagine there'd be a different name. So the Desert Hawks, the Orlando Predators were finally officially announced too. And then the Billings Outlaws.
Yes.
Those are 3 official teams so far.
I believe so.
And then the Everett franchise. So we have 4 franchises officially
out of declared. 16 or 20.
Yeah, 16 to 20 now. We'll find out. And we got till April, and it's October. Let's get rolling.
Yeah, let's get.
And what about this Minnesota team we kept hearing about that nothing's materialized yet for? Yeah, that's the other franchise I'm waiting to hear about. But I mean, Albany Firebirds, if true, is the best thing this Arena League has done so far. We will see what else is coming. I'm sure there'll be more breaking news at some point.
Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. All right, birthdays and anniversaries today for October 3rd. Wide receiver Anquan Bolden turns 43 years old today. He played his college football at Florida State and was selected in the second round of the 2003 NFL Draft by the Arizona Cardinals. He played 14 NFL seasons. He was with the Cardinals from 2003 to 2009, the Baltimore Ravens from 2010 to 2012, the 49ers from 2013 to 2015, and he finished his playing career with our beloved Detroit Lions in 2016. He won Super Bowl 47 with the Ravens, so happy birthday to him.
And when he came to Detroit, I wasn't sure what he was going to do, but that season he played for Detroit, he was actually he's been in the league a long time up to that point. He was still a great producing wide receiver.
He still had some gas in the tank.
He did. He was great.
Came to Detroit. And on this date in 1920, the first NFL game was played between the Dayton Triangles and the Columbus Panhandles in Dayton, Ohio. The Triangles won the game 14-0, and there's a new movie coming out called Triangle Park, which will be streaming on Thanksgiving Day on Amazon Prime and Apple TV, but it's also going to be in some theaters in NFL cities and a few other places. And one of them is Canton, Ohio, and I'm trying to make arrangements to go see the movie when it comes out, I think November 15th in Canton, Ohio. So we'll see if that works out. I know several people, PFRA members who live in the Canton area, and we might just get a bunch of us together and we'll all go see the movie.
You
down
have to
in
let me
Canton.
know. I'd be
Well,
even be down for us doing
it's a Wednesday, so
yeah. We'll see.
I'm not counting you in, but we'll see.
We'll see, but we'll definitely have to do some sort of once I can see the movie, we should do some sort of video.
A movie review on your movie
my
review
YouTube
channel.
movie
You
channel.
can bring
There
that
we
back.
go.
Get the dust off of that.
I got something cooking this week. We'll get that back up and running. So I've been busy
Excuse me.
trying to get the world of football taken care of.
All right, I got a couple of obituaries today. This is where we take a moment and honor those who've made the world of football a better place. The first one is Russ Francis, a tight end in the NFL for 13 seasons. He has passed away as a result of a plane crash at the age of 70. Francis played college football at Oregon and was the 16th overall pick in the 1975 NFL draft by the New England Patriots. He played for the Patriots from 1975 to 1980 and then retired. But he returned to the NFL in 1982 and signed with the San Francisco 49ers, where he played from 1982 to 1987. He was traded back to the Patriots from the 49ers during the 1987 season and finished his playing career in New England in 1988. He won Super Bowl 19 with the 49ers.
All right. Our next obituary is that of Tim Foley, a defensive back in the NFL for 11 seasons, has passed away at the age of 75. Foley played college football at Purdue and was selected in the third round of the 1970 NFL draft by the Miami Dolphins. He played his entire career with the Dolphins from 1970 to 1980 and was a member of the 1972 undefeated team that won 2 Super Bowls in Miami.
I kind of wrote that incorrectly. I mean, you can't win 2 Super Bowls and being an undefeated team, but
and won 2 Super Bowls in Miami. So he won obviously the undefeated season one and
one other one. Yeah, I should have wrote that a little bit differently, but oh well. And our final obituary today.
Oh well, the Randy Snow story.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
All I do is try to make you look bad, and it's just an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It ends up just going back to you, so it's all good.
Our last obituary is that of George Reed, a running back in the Canadian Football League for 13 seasons. He has passed away at the age of 84. Reed played college football at Washington State. He signed with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 1963 and played for the team through 1975. He played in 4 Grey Cup games and won one in 1966. All right, upcoming events calendar. This Sunday, October 8th, Jacksonville plays its second game in a row in London, taking on the Buffalo Bills. That's going to be at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I can't remember the last time the Jaguars did back-to-backs in London like that.
I don't think anybody's ever done back-to-back games in London before.
Interesting that Jacksonville's got 2 games back-to-back in London. Like
they always say that they're going to move to London someday. Man, they have played more games in London than anybody else.
They finally, after their win last week, they are now 5-5 in London. So they've played 10 games over there in London over the last few years. So they finally broke even on their record over there, but that should be a tough game against Buffalo. But how much of an advantage do you got to give Jacksonville for already being over in London, not messing with all that travel?
2 weeks to adjust to the time and everything.
Yeah, that could be a factor when we do our picks this week. You have to think about that.
I think that might be the game of the week. I was looking over all the games for next week, and that might be the game of the week, Jacksonville and Buffalo in London. Well, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, we'll run down it on our other show, NFL Weekly Picks, on our YouTube channel. Be on the lookout for that on Wednesday.
Yeah. Let's see, Sunday, October 15th, the Baltimore Ravens will be taking on the Tennessee Titans at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on NFL Network, a 9:30 a.m. game from London. Saturday, October 28th, the CFL regular season comes to an end. By then we'll know who all the teams are.
Yeah, we just got 1 spot left.
1 spot left, yep. And Monday, October 30th, the Raiders at the Lions Monday Night Football game. We will be there.
You actually put that on the calendar. Good Lord. It's a random Monday night game for everybody else.
Random Monday night. The mighty Lions in prime time again.
Against the buffoonery that is the Raiders right now? Come on. There was a great video I saw of some fans. Apparently, at the Chargers game over the weekend, Mark Davis was sitting in a whatever his luxury suite is, but the fans can walk right by. It looked weird. I was like, how can these fans just walk right by with this owner's area where he's sitting? And they were like, hey, fire McDaniels, that head coach, because he's had some really baffling decisions done, coaching-wise. And it was Mark Davis just yelling at these fans saying, think smarter or something like that. And he's just yelling at these fans like you guys don't know what you're talking about. It's like, I'm sorry, but the Raiders coaching situation, I'd have to think about firing him too. That's just me. I'm not the owner of a $1 billion NFL franchise.
That's true.
So, and I don't have as cool a haircut as Mark Davis. Ain't nobody got a haircut like him.
Thank goodness.
Your hair's starting to look a little bit like old Marky Mark.
I got a haircut scheduled for tomorrow.
Oh, it's scheduled for tomorrow. You want me to get you Mark Davis's guy?
No. I don't think I have a bowl that'll fit my head. All right. Anything before we close the show out?
Nah, should be good. I was just doing a quick Twitter search to see if there's any more arena news. Nothing new.
Okay.
So we should be good.
All right. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we've done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can also like The World of Football on Facebook at facebook.com/TWOF Kalamazoo. You can also follow our X account, which is at TWOF Kalamazoo, as well as our Instagram, which is also TWOF Kalamazoo. Very simple.
Sure.
New episodes of this very podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast to hear us wherever you have an Alexa device at your ready. You can also find full episodes of this podcast in the audio form. Obviously, we don't have a video version of the podcast, but it is on our YouTube channel, if that is so how you choose to listen. Just search your YouTube search bar for the World of Football Kalamazoo to find our channel, or use the handle youtube.com/@theworldoffootball. So you could go there, spread the word, let your friends know we're at 515 subscribers.
515 is last I saw. Yep.
So yeah, we took a big jump after we cracked 500.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate everybody out there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, go there, share, like. We love getting the comments, and I know we got some fans out there who we didn't even talk about the official XFL USFL merger this week.
Not this week. Nothing new about it.
Yeah, I mean, other than getting the official announcement about it.
Right.
It is okay, so it's official.
They're talking about it, but
I mean, no, they put out statements that said it's happening, so that it finally makes it real instead of the rumor like we talked about a couple weeks ago. But there's not much new to really talk about there, so we're not going to go into that. We got one fella who's been bugging us on the YouTube chat about it. So, sir, we're going to get to it.
When there's something to report, we'll talk about it.
I mean, if we feel like there's enough to speculate or to have a little fun and with it, we do it. But if not, we're just gonna focus our time elsewhere. I mean, time is very precious for some of us over here. But so please subscribe, rate, review, leave a like, leave us a comment, all that. You know what to do. So let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation.
And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us sitting here in the fabulous World of Football man cave in
Kalamazoo, do a little cleaning
Michigan.
up around here. What's happening in here?
Yeah, it kind of looks like a pigsty. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. I'm Randy Snow.
And I can't believe we shaved at least 3 minutes off of the podcast from last week. I don't know what we trimmed, but we did it.
See you all next week.
Yep.